My name is Rowan. I am the facilitator for Puget Sound Forest Walks and Talks. If you want to know more about who we are and what we do, I have a link to our Meetup group. I lead monthly tree talks, which are free events on the first or second Tuesday of each month, where we meet with a different tree ally and we do meditations. This is the third meditation in the series. I will be adding more as we go along. This one is for Western red cedar, so a very important tree here where I'm based in Puget Sound in the Pacific Northwest, kind of one of the keynote species of trees for this Cascadia Pacific Northwest area. An immensely important tree historically and into this day, especially for indigenous folk, but also just very iconic. And if you want to know more about this tree and more informationally, you can find that out through our meetup as well. We have a drive full of different materials. But this is just going to be our meditation. So for this meditation, all you have to do is get comfortable, sit back, make sure that you're relaxed in a comfortable chair like I am. I am currently in the middle of a move, so I apologize in advance that we have some boxes kind of strewn about, but hopefully you're in a space where you can be relaxed, where you won't be disturbed for like the next 10 minutes, and where you really feel like you can make this connection, this heartfelt connection at this time. So you may want to have a bottle of water nearby. You might want to have maybe a notebook or a journal and pen or pencil. You might want to jot down some notes or observations that you have afterwards. It's really up to you what you find helpful. So let's just go into it. This is going to be our Western red cedar meditation. As I mentioned, if you are not familiar with this tree, you might want to pause this video and maybe just look into it a little bit, at least so that you are able to visualize the tree or have some sense of kind of the tree that we will be meeting. So you can pause this video, look it up if you need to, and then we will resume. All right, all good then? All right, so to get started, I just invite you to take some deep breaths. In and out. Just normally, you don't have to really focus on how long you're inhaling or exhaling, just whatever is normal and natural for you. Just breathing in and out. What does that feel like in your body? Even if there's any areas of tension, you can shake that out. Just shift a little bit if you need to. You want to make sure that you're comfortable, you're able to breathe. And for many folks, it helps to close your eyes to kind of help with the visualization. All right, let's begin. So feel and sense the ground beneath you, the supporting earth. Be aware of that point of contact where you are seated, where your feet touch the floor. If your limbs are uncrossed, be sure to uncross them so that you can really just feel that point of connection where your feet, where your bottom rests. Be aware of that and acknowledge that point of connection. Sense also the sky above you, even though you're likely indoors for this meditation. Sense that there is the limitless vast sky above wherever you're seated. Sense also extending about you the land, what you call and think of as the land on which you currently reside or where you are seated. What is that like? What is that land? And extending your awareness further out, be aware of where that land eventually hits the water, the sea that extends about us. For there's no point on this earth where if you don't go far enough, you will eventually run into some water. So be aware of that land beneath you, that sky above you, and the sea that encompasses the lands. Sense that there is a direction before you and behind you, to your left and to your right. And sense also the direction within yourself as well. Know that you are here and now in the present, spiraling ever forward. Now, from this place of stillness, allow yourself to sense that a mist is beginning to rise from the earth below, from the outer edges of your perception and awareness. A calm, cool, flowing mist. It approaches you. It begins to rise from the earth. This calm, flowing mist rises up your legs, past your legs to your torso, up your torso and your arms, up toward your head and neck, so that you are completely enveloped in this very calm, soothing, it's like a blanket. It's like a blanket of cool, flowing mist, a place of stillness. And you feel lighter in this place, like you could just drift and go in either direction freely, completely unbound by your normal physical limitations. Just allow yourself to sense and appreciate that mist. After a moment or two, that mist you notice it's starting to fade, to thin out. As your inner vision opens up, allow that mist to fade and depart. And you notice that you are now standing in the middle of a lush, evergreen forest. A forest with many tall, green, dark trees. It's late in the fall, the time of limbo between fall and winter, and the air feels cool and damp. Looking up, you see the sky above you is a veil of misty gray with low-hanging clouds, and beneath you the earth is soft and damp, covered in a mixture of mosses, dirt, and lots of fallen fir needles and cedar leaves. Yet even with all of this natural debris, you can still make out the faint outlines of a path winding through these woods. You walk along the path for a short distance before you come upon a ridge just to the side of the trail, allowing you to look out over the wooded landscape of the lowlands below. As far as you can see, there is an unbroken canopy of green, stretching to the cloud-obscured, snowy peaks in the distance. The wind rises to greet you, a whispered howl that drowns out all other sounds. You pause here for a moment, taking in the sheer vastness of this forest, but the wind is growing more and more fierce, to the point where you realize you need to walk away from this exposed ridge. It's just so cold you can't help but shiver. So you turn around and make your way back along the path, allowing it to carry you further. You meander between the trees, taking care to step over downfall and watching out for the low-hanging branches overhead. You walk up and down gentle hills until the path winds its way down toward a stream. The wind is still howling, so loud you can barely make out the sounds of the trickling water. The water here is shallow, and there are a number of flat rocks positioned to form a natural bridge. The gusts seem to be pushing you forward, and so you make your way carefully over the rocks, across the stream, and on the other shore, toward a deeply shadowed grove of very massive trees. These very ancient trees have red, deeply furrowed bark, low-hanging branches, and waxy, flat, scaly leaves. You know that this must be a stand of elder western red cedars, and that each one is at least several hundred, if not 1,000 years in age. Just imagine standing in the same place for 1,000 years, 1,000 winters, 1,000 summers, For these trees, the relationship between existence and place is inseparable. You are entranced by their beauty, and you sense a welcoming presence from them. There's something about them that draws you in further. As you scan the trees, you find one that seems to call to you the most. A tree that can offer you some shelter from the encroaching storm. It is so very large that it would take at least 3 people to wrap their arms around its trunk. It has large, sturdy roots, and there's a hollow near the base, just the right size for you to lean into, to hunch over and take cover. You look up at the wild, twisted branches overhead. They seem to be dancing to the wind rhythms with ease. And as you look down at your feet digging into the blanket of mosses below, you notice now for the first time that you are barefoot, and that you're barely wearing any clothes at all. No wonder the biting cold had hit you so hard. But now as you sit with your back against the cedar, you can feel nothing but warmth, comfort, and security. You feel as though your strength is revitalized. You feel healthy, strong, and whole. You sense as though the tree is aware of your areas of need and is ready to give you whatever you need to survive and to feel comfortable in spite of the howling winds and the rains that have started to pour. Let me shelter you. Let me clothe you. Let me cradle you. Let me keep you safe and warm, the tree seems to say. So you sit there, allowing this ancient tree to provide for you, to nurture you unconditionally, holding you like a mother supporting her newborn. Allow yourself to feel that security, that sensation of all your needs met, all fears set aside for a moment. And as you rest in safety with this elder cedar, consider all the areas in your waking life where you are blessed with security, with shelter, food, warmth, family, and anything else for which you are grateful. Allow this feeling of gratitude to permeate your being, to fill you, so that you feel complete and whole, nurtured both by the tree and by the knowledge that you do have so much to be thankful for. Things don't have to be perfect, but at this time there is only the sense of deep gratitude, deep comfort, deep love and presence with this tree. I wish to bless you with all this and more, you sense the tree is saying, but you will have to give something up to me in return. Tell me, what do you need to shed at this time? What will you release? In letting go, you will be able to embrace the gifts that you have and the gifts that you will receive. Take a moment to consider those outworn things in your life, those things that you no longer need, old habits, old possessions, old attachments. Visualize those things falling away from you now, like leaves from a tree, falling down toward the ground at the base of the tree. As you release these things, you feel lighter, and the cold around you dissipates. At last, the wind begins to subside. The forest all around grows hushed and calm as the storm passes. The dance of the branches overhead draws to a close, and in the mellow silence, you can still feel that sense of gratitude, that sense of lightness. Realize how freeing it is. You feel purified, refreshed, renewed. In that moment, you notice a few flecks of white drifting through the air. The first snowflakes of the year are beginning to fall, and looking down, You see that you are now fully clothed, your feet in sturdy, snug boots, your body draped in warm, comfortable clothing. You are ready to face the cold and whatever lies ahead. You have so much to thank this tree for, but you realize that you have already given to it all that you can. You simply bow in reverence and get back onto your feet. It is time for you to return. You walk away from the ancient cedar grove, back over the natural bridge crossing the stream. You make your way back over the meandering trail, weaving amongst the trees. And at last your feet take you back to that point where you started, in the middle of this vast forest, standing on the soft earth that is now blanketed with a layer of fresh white snow. The mists begin to roll in once more from the outer edges of your awareness. A calm flowing mist rising from the earth below. The mist piles in around you, surrounding you, blanketing you in that calm flowing mist. Rising up your legs, rising up toward your torso and up the trunk of your body and your arms, up over your head and neck until you are enveloped once more. Now be aware once more of where you're seated, where your feet touch the floor, where your bottom is rest where you're seated. Be aware of your surroundings and the space that you are in. You are here and now back where you're seated in the mundane world. This is a good time to maybe wiggle your fingers or your toes or as needed, and when you are ready, open your eyes. Really good to shift around and stretch, do whatever you need to really get focused and grounded again in this space. If you find that you get a little floaty after meditation, which is completely normal, you can also touch the ground or your seat as a way to kind of get fully back. And if you have some water, taking a drink of water or having a salty snack can help with that as well. So feel free to journal if you'd like to take any notes of this experience. You can replay this meditation as well at any time if you would like to revisit it again. And happy to also see any comments or anything that you would like to share in terms of your experiences. Again, my name is Rowan, facilitator for Puget Sound Forest Walks and Talks. And if you would like to know more about what we do and maybe take part in one of our monthly tree talks, feel free to follow the link below. Again, thank you so much for your time, and take care.